let's go through a quick little yoga class. Focus for me, always, with any kind of mobility training and everything else that comes along with yoga is understanding. And having full understanding means being able to use your mobility and understand where the weak parts are and where you're just lacking that little bit of control. We're going to add control. But, like always, my main deal is being nice to yourself about what you've got and realising that we can improve ourselves, we can get better, but you can't be happy with where you are right now, because that's where you're working, that's your workspace, is where you are right now. You've got to do work there to push yourself just a little bit further. It should be kind of nice, it should be good, kind of happy. So, you start in some kind of seated position, it doesn't have to be cross-legged. Cross-legged feels kind of nice for me. And just let your palms rest on your knees and soften your shoulders. And sit up tall. And relax your jaw and relax your tongue. Try and find breathing. It's breathing in through your nose on the way in and on the way out. Relax your fingers, relax your shoulders. Think about your torso expanding as you breathe in, like you're inflating a balloon. You're sucking that air in, like using these muscles here around your belly, your intercostal muscles. Those intercostal muscles are in between every rib. And they're part of a big team, along with your diaphragm and transverse abdominis. They do good breathing. Keep relaxing your jaw. See if you can settle yourself. And then try not to let that breathing get interrupted by your movement. If you pull your ribs down towards your hips on one side, down towards your hips on the other. We're trying to understand how this sideways movement can be your little analogy, your little understanding of how your human body moves. One side scrunches up, the other side lengthens. One side isn't more important than the other. They both feed each other. One side stretches, one side contracts. And that's how all of our joints move. Our spine is lots of little joints all stacked up on top of each other. So this is kind of complicated what's happening in your body right now. When you think about an elbow, elbows are easy to understand. Spine, not so much. It's got stuff going on. It's a big team of muscles that look after it for stability and movement. We're going to try and understand as much of it as we can. Try and tune into what's actually happening in your body. Then cross your arms over your shoulders and rotate. Keep your shoulders down. Squeeze a little bit further into rotation. Notice what my head does. I've set my gaze forwards. My head doesn't shift. And it's not just me spinning side to side like this. I'm looking for corners, I'm looking for stuff to push against so that I can understand my full range. And I'm trying to do big full breaths, which is hard. I'm scrunching up these muscles here and it makes expanding my lungs hard in rotation. But I'm teaching my body how to get oxygen in no matter what. Then, bring your hands down to your mat. Go up onto all fours and do that sideways movement again. Push your fingertips down and pull the floor towards your knees just a little bit. And squeeze ribs towards hips, ribs towards hips. There'll be loads of different shapes that every different person pulls themselves into when they do this. And that's just your understanding of this side bend in your spine. There's no right or wrong. You can just kind of play around with it. See if there's a different way of doing this. If I come down and curve my back around like this and do it, it feels different. If I go up and tuck my chin, it feels different. It's trying to teach my spine how to move while I'm on all fours. Then go into cat-cow. Let's talk really specifically about cat-cow. If you push your chest up and tuck your chin and pull your belly button up, you're trying to move just your coccyx first. So only coccyx.
into lumbar spine, a little bit more lumbar spine, keep my chest up, a little bit more lumbar spine, keep my chest up, more lumbar spine, chest up, and it starts going into thoracic spine, into the middle of my back. Keep my chest up, still thoracic spine, still thoracic spine. I've hit an end, and shoulder blades can come together, and then my neck comes, tuck chin, look up, look down, tuck my chin more, shoulder blades, thoracic spine, lumbar, lumbar, lumbar. Keep slowing this down and teaching your body how to segment each individual vertebra. I find this really hard, talking and doing it really specifically. I practice it a lot, but it still takes me a lot of concentration and thinking to get my best work out of these little individual movements. And I feel little pulls from side to side, and I try and understand them, try and fix them, and try and understand more control. And then tuck your toes and press into downward facing dog, heels towards the floor and hips up. You like an A shape like this. Want the whole of your hands to push down into the mat, fingertips, heels push towards the floor. Don't worry about them touching the floor, doesn't matter if you do or they don't, as long as you can feel that stretch in your posterior chain, hamstrings, calves, maybe even straight up into your glutes. Then play around with your ankles. Go up onto the balls of your feet, back down. Up onto the balls of your feet and back down. Have a look at your knees and work out what they're doing. Are they staying neutral? And it's not actually your knees, it's coming from your hips. If your hips are internally rotated, then your knees might kind of fold inwards like this. Or you might move your feet to help you find something that feels normal. Kind of know right or wrong. I just want to know if you know what's going on. And then walk your hands back towards your toes and just hang in hamstring stretch, and we'll see how my spine curls round in the C shape, which is fine. I'm reaching for the floor and pushing my big toes down and keeping my instep up so my knees don't internally rotate like this. Breathe in, I'm going to pull my hips round from one side to the other and look for that stretch in one leg and the other. Then thinking about your spine, if you can make your back flat by bringing your hands into your shins, sliding your shoulders down your back, shoulder blades down away from your ears, and peel your chest up until you can find flat back with a bit of a tucked chin. You're trying to lean into this hamstring stretch by using muscles in your belly and your hip flexors to understand your hamstring flexibility. Because my hamstring stretch is here, it's still here if I go like this, and I'm not stretching my hamstrings anymore, I'm just moving my spine. I want you to see if you can understand this stretch here and understand what's happening in your spine if you can control it. Pull your hands into your shins, sit into chair pose. And hold your shoulders down away from your ears and your neck long, and see if you can load up one leg and feel this bum muscle here, glute medius, holds you up. Then up to the other leg, up to the other leg, other leg, other leg. Breathe. Then drive your hips through, and thumbs up and back. And see your ribs flip up like this, and your lower back kind of pushes forwards. I want you to try and pull your ribs down towards your belly button. Try and flatten your lower back and tuck your tailbone under, tense your bum, pull thumbs back. Reach down. Cool. So let's get into some controlled articular rotations. My favourite, I need them. If I'm going to get more flexible, I want to know that I can understand how to find that new flexibility in my joints. So going into a split stance, let's say with your left leg forwards, so I'm going to mirror you. Bring your right hand onto your back thigh and tense your bum. Pull this fist back and push it up against your shoulder blade. Turn your thumb to point up, turn your thumb to point back, and bring it up and back, and you're finding the corners. Bring it right behind your ear, bring it across your body, and it's still maximally externally rotated. It doesn't matter if you understand that or not, we'll catch up. Back to start point. Swing it forwards, get it behind your ear, turn your thumb to point down for shoulder internal rotation as it comes down and back. What I'm after is your spine to stay set. Right now, spine is doing stability. With all of the muscles in your belly, muscles in your back, even this other shoulder that we're not moving around is doing stability. We're looking for
individual control from your glenohumeral joint on this arm that we're swinging around. And it's only that, nothing else. Sometimes my neck even tries to cheat me, and I go here and I say, get my arm behind my ear. I can feel my head pulling forwards because I'm like, I want more. But that's not me getting more, that's me moving my head. Control everything and work out stability everywhere except for the joint that we're moving around. Cool. Let's go to the other side. Let's learn a word called irradiation. Radiation is when I make a team of muscles all join in together. I make everything tight. So I'm making a fist, so forearm, bicep, tricep, shoulder, all does irradiation. And I'm irradiating strength through my whole body as I push this hand into my thigh. I keep finding corners with this shoulder. Oh, come on, left arm. Left arm is never as good for me, but it's okay. Because I can feel where the weak bits are. I understand that this here, for me, with my thumb pointing down and pulling back, feels weak. It's a little bit clicky. Clicks I'm not too worried about, because they're not sore. It's the control that I lack. I can't quite push as hard as I can on my right, and I'm looking for a little bit more. You've got to look that stuff out yourself. If you're not sure about which way your thumb should be pointing, don't overthink it. Just find the corners first, and the more you do, the more this internal rotation as you go down and back will just make sense. Breathe. Okay. I can. And then let's do some thoracic spine rotations. So, kind of wide feet, push your toes down, tense your bum so your hips push forwards, and do a little curl over like this with your hips still pushing forwards. If your hips don't push forwards, then you'll do this, and you'll do an actual fold over and your chest will face the floor. You shouldn't ever really get as far as that. Let's do a little crunch, and you rotate towards your left, lean towards your left, and lean back into thoracic extension as you come across and back, across and back, across and back, and land, rotated and tilted this way. Do your crunch across, and then change direction. If you can keep your eyes on something in front of you, it'll help. Your eyes are sneaky. They'll tell you that you're doing loads when you're not doing much, because your eyes can move without any part of your body moving. It'll trick you into feeling end range when mechanically your back, the stuff we're after, isn't doing end range. So if I do it like this, feels like I'm going way further. I've actually moved less. It's just because this has joined in. I can just keep looking forwards. Get a little bit more. Okay. Let's go into some hip cars. You can use a wall or something to help you balance. And you're going to pick up your, let's say, left knee first. Get up as high as you can, and then pick your heel up towards your chin. Then swing this knee out. Show the front of the room, the sole of your foot. So this thigh is externally rotated. And then swing this heel back so your thigh is internally rotated. Drag your knee back, and knee to knee, knee up. Bring your heel up towards your chin. Trying to get you to be able to understand that this bit here is staying set. It's the hardest bit to teach. I let people get away with it for months and months that come to my yoga and come to my mobility classes, do PT with me even, because it's so hard to teach and get right. But you've just got to do something and learn from it. When you get it, it's a eureka moment that you have much less mobility in your individual joints than you first imagined, especially for people who are kind of flexible. Tell them to pick their knee up as high as they can here as they do internal rotation. You see this, and they're kind of good at this, which is awesome because they can get the knee really high, but I've just shared the load out between my two hips. I'm not after that. I want to see this hip do all of this. Let's say that's 6 on that side. Change direction. Bring this knee back. This whole shin goes out the side. Knee comes up, across, and down. Let's go for 6, going in this direction. So your shin comes out to the side in internal rotation. Bring it up into external rotation, and bring it across and down. You try to keep your hips still. And let's go for the other side. Turn away from you. So it goes knee up, heel up towards your chin, knee out, swing this heel back. You should be able to tense your bum here, knee to knee up. Have a look at this here. This is quadratus lumborum. I'm trying not to let this bit do the work, because it really wants to. It wants to do this, look. You can see all kinds of stuff moving. When you're first learning this, it's hard. If I put my hand here on it, I can almost feel what body's trying to do a little cheat for me. Okay, then let's go the other way. Knee goes back, shin goes out to the side, knee up, across, back. Shin out to the side, knee up, across, and back. And it's the axial rotation that I'm after controlling more, which is, as it gets here, and I swing this, you can see my thigh do like pencil sharpener style rotation in my little hip joint here. And that's the good stuff. If you can get really strong at that, then your joints and your hips work way better. Okay, let's get into some actual stuff. So if you come up to the back of your mat, tense your bum, push your toes down and pick your knee up. And your left foot, hold this knee up as high as you can and reach your fingertips down to the floor. Make yourself taller, get this knee as high as it'll go, and test how high you can get this foot without bending your knee or dropping your knee. Keep holding it up, hold it up, hold it up. Expect it to be shaky and do a soft landing. Swivel this back foot sideways, reach hands out, pull the feet towards each other on the floor. You might need to do a little shuffle like this to find your little spot. Think about your footprint. Push the outside of your foot down, push your toes down. Soften your shoulders, pull ribs back. Tense your bum as you pull feet towards each other. We need to get strong on the floor. When I pull feet towards each other, it makes my bum muscles tense. Look at my lower back here. If I just hang in this, feel no stretch, feel a little bit of strengthening here. My lower back pops forwards like this. Trying to fight that, so my ribs kind of pull down, my tailbone tucks under, and I can still do big breaths with tension on in my belly. That's what I'm after practicing. That's good. Then swivel all the toes to point forwards and reach your arms up. And tense your bum and pull your ribs down into your belly. I'm going to see if you can segment your spine here. If you pull back until you feel this stretch on the hip flexor, then peel the top of your chest back. Keep going top of your chest back, keep your chin tucked. Then try to segment through your spine into your best back bend, pulling your thumbs back and feel a little bit of your spine go at the time. Bring your hands down. Bring your fingertips down either side of your foot and drop that back knee. And bring your knee to the outside and push this knee into your shoulder. And pick up this back knee, pull feet towards each other and breathe. And tense your bum muscle on this back leg. This back leg going back here is hip extension. If you take a long stride or you're sprinting and your leg flings back behind you, that's hip extension. This leg behind me is hip extension. My bum muscle and my hamstring control this. If I just hang here, I can still feel the stretch in my hip flex and that's fine. I want my bum muscle, my glutes, to be part of the deal and to understand how to get my leg back here. That's it. And take a step back to plank, down facing dog. Then with your right knee, pull that knee forwards, bring the foot across your body and drop down. Go into 90-90. So your shin on this front leg and your thigh on the back leg are parallel. This is called 90-90, 90-90, because of this 90-degree angle and this 90-degree angle. If it looks like this, that's not it. It's got to be kind of open like this. This thigh, this shin in line, and peel your chest down. Look at my spine. I'm quite happy to curl over here and bring my arms down, but I'm not any further for the part that I'm trying to stretch than here. So let's see if you can get this, and it's a stretch down the outside of this front leg's hip, right into my bum muscle, glute medius, even a tiny bit of piriformis as well.
I want you to straighten your spine up. So my ribs are trying to go this way towards this front thigh like this. I'm trying to scrunch up here. I want to fight that and lengthen this bit here and just hold this. 2 minutes. 2 whole minutes of breathing and relaxing your jaw and looking for that stretch down the outside of your hip. Keep breathing and breathing. Then we start pushing down with that back shin, that front shin, sorry, both shins. So both shins push into the floor, ankles push into the floor, and keep my belly tense just a little bit. And keep pushing down, soften the shoulders down, tense my belly. Keep pushing this ankle down, and breathe. I'm trying to load up the muscles that I'm stretching. It's called PAILS, Progressive Angular Isometric Loading, which means I'm loading up the progressive angle isometrically. So the progressive angle is the stretchy stuff, isometric is when you push against something like still, so when I push into the floor like this and don't move like a plank, that's an isometric exercise. Isometric for this muscle that's stretching. It'll trick your body into giving you a little bit more mobility, and then you can curl over this and show yourself this full end range, push down a bit harder with this ankle. Then bring your hands either side of your thigh and tense your belly. We're going to try and own our mobility. So this thigh is going to come up towards your belly as you sit up. As you sit up, you try and lift this up. Push this shin down. Show your body your passive range. So if I pick this ankle up with my hand, take my hand away, I own that. That's what I own. I want to own this. I don't quite. Nearly got it. I don't quite have that neuromuscular map. I don't quite understand it yet. I'm trying to teach my body this. And come back down. Stretch again. And just relax and make this passive. And roll up onto our knees, unhook your legs, and just tilt lower back. So remember how we did cow before? It's like that, except it's only lower back. Find like when I do a lot of holding in one position in a forward fold, I want to be able to know that I can tune back in to how my lower back works. Then tuck your toes, walk your hands back into low yoga squat and push your knees out. Try and keep your feet flat, but it doesn't matter too much if you're up on your toes a bit like this. Bring your hands down, hips up, put your toes forwards and your back into this forward fold. Pushing big toes down, keep this instep up to keep your knees nice and neutral. If your instep collapses, then there's a small chance of your knees doing that. If that's your habit, try to teach you out of that habit so you can do more stuff like this. Bring your hands into your shins, pull head forward, shoulders back, and sit into chair pose. And load up from leg to leg. And breathe. Drive hips through. Bring your thumbs up, let your ribs flip up like this, so your lower back pops forwards, and then try and change it by pulling your ribs down and tucking your tailbone under, and pull your thumbs back, and still be able to breathe. Bring hands down. That's cool. Okay, then balancing on your left foot this time, right knee comes up. Some good balance. That's it. Hold this knee up. Tense your bum, reach your fingertips down towards the floor. This knee stays as high as you can get it. And you practice this hip flexor strength and get your leg as straight as you can. Hamstring flexibility means nothing if your hip flexors aren't strong enough to control how your hamstrings move. Drop this foot down and swivel this back foot sideways and come down into warrior two again. So that back foot, heel goes a tiny bit behind the little toes, this front knee bends, and you're trying to tense your bum by pulling the feet towards each other. Trying to let this knee collapse inwards like this, so you're trying to pull it back, reach your hands out, and think about your footprint. And every part of your footprint pushes into the floor. And I mean like a pretty footprint postcard style on the sand. So you've got every toe, ball of your foot, around the outside of your foot onto your heel, with a little gap where your instep lives. Soften your shoulders down, look over that front hand, pull harder on the floor. Keep pulling, keep pulling. Swivel your hands over, bring your hands either side of this front foot, swivel the toes to point forwards, drop the back knee. Bring your hand down so your knee goes onto the outside of your shoulder. Push that knee into the outside of your shoulder, pick up the back leg, and try and shorten the mat. Pull the feet towards each other, shoulders away from your ears. Remember what I said about your bum muscle. You need to understand this hip extension. See if you can tense your belly a little bit, but still breathe. You get a bit of biofeedback in this pose, where you can have your ribs against the side of your thigh here. I can feel myself breathe. Try to breathe well and create tension. I'm dropping my hips as low as I can, trying to tense the bum muscle and the back leg continuously. Step back into plank, downward facing dog. Heels towards the floor, hips up. Then this time swing the chest forwards, my left knee comes forwards, foot comes across my body, and I drop onto this hip. If you get confused, sit down first on your bum and bring this left leg forwards. Remember it's 90-90, so shin goes across the mat, thigh goes across the mat, like that. And then as you hinge forwards, you're looking for the stretch here, on the outside of your bum, maybe down the outside of your thigh. I'm trying to just look at what angle I can feel that best. Because there's a lot of variation you can do here. I'm trying to almost pull my chest towards this front foot. Just breathe. This might look really different for different people. If your knee hurts, you might be happy with your heel pulled in a little bit. Just keep breathing. Remember, we're aiming to hold this for 2 minutes. I'm not going to hold it for the full 2 minutes. We'll kind of rush it ahead a little bit, but you could hit pause, set a timer, get this right. Keep teaching your body that it can deal with this. Okay, let's say that's 2 minutes. Push this shin down, and the back shin joins in as well, and it's that irradiation again. Pull your ribs towards away from the thigh here. So ribs are coming this way, away from this front thigh. And keep pushing your ankle and your shin down. Keep loading up, and loading up, and loading up. It's progressive angle isometric loading. Pushing, then I'll come down lower, and keep pushing, keep coming down lower, and keep pushing, coming down lower, and keep pushing, and maybe my elbows come in front of my shin, keep pushing the ankle down, and then bring my hands either side of my thigh, and I try and own this. So when I pick my chest up, I'm going to try and bring this shin with my chest, and it never happens, and it probably never will, but I'm getting closer to owning this. If I pick this ankle up, I'm trying to teach my body that these muscles on the inside of my thigh are strong enough to do this stretch themselves. Breathe, shoulders down. Keep owning it and owning it. And then drop down. And show your body you've got this. That's cool. Then swing this back leg around to the front. Lie down onto your back. And grab hold of your right leg by the hamstring. Pull that knee into your chest. And straighten this leg up. Think about holding this stretch and looking for the stretchy feeling here, right in the belly of the muscle here. And think about muscles in your hip flexors, which one of them even crosses over your knee, the muscles in your belly. They control this. They're the muscles that put you into this shape. Right now our hands are holding it there, but really, these are the ones. We want these to understand this, so that you have that mobility and you can control it. Keep holding. Think about what's happening in your spine right now. You should be able to breathe full breaths. It's only passive stretch. Shoulders down into the floor. Keep holding. Depending on how flexible you are, after holding this for 2 minutes, you either fight out of this, like this, with your hands just behind your knee, behind your calf, and you push your heel that way, and your hands pull this way. You kind of fight against yourself, and it should feel like you're loading up the hamstring. If you're flexible, you can hold on to your toe with 2 fingers, big toe with 2 fingers, and your hand pulls back, and your heel pulls this forwards. Keep holding, keep holding. 3, 2, 1. Bring your hand onto your kneecap, and push your knee into your hand, and your hand into your knee. And it makes you tense your belly and your hip flexor, so you start controlling your hamstring flexibility. Then go and just do this passive stretch. If you're flexible enough, maybe holding onto that toe. Trying to let your hips roll up, so if you can get further, but it's at the cost of doing this, that's not the deal. Your back's curling around there. I just want to know what your hamstring can do. Okay, let's go into this other side. Hands around your hamstring, straighten this leg up. Think about which way your knee is pointing. Don't let that knee turn across your body. If your habit is internal rotation, keep it neutral. Relax your jaw and hold this stretch. And breathe. After holding this for close to 2 minutes, fight out of it. So either hold our hand here, your hands pull back, heel pulls forwards. If you struggle with mobility here and it's hard to keep hold of your leg, you could use a belt around your foot, like a dressing gown belt or a leather belt. Anything will work. You've got something to pull against, so we can get these PAILS. Then we do the regressive angle isometric loading, so we load up all of the muscles in the belly and the hip flexors. Put your hand against your knee and push. Keep pushing and keep pushing. And coming up into seated. Cross-legged. Hands down. Just finish with just some breathing, some understanding. You should feel good about pushing your body just a little bit further. It's alright to need to improve. We all try to improve, no matter how good you get. We're always on that path, always trying to get better and better as humans. It's okay to plateau. It's okay to have bits that are a little bit weaker than others. But we're just working on them, just trying to get better. Pushing your belly out as you breathe in. Draw the belly in as you breathe out. Bring your hands together. Bring your thumbs to your forehead and tuck your chin.